Insight is House Armed Services Committee member, Texas Congressman Pat Fallon. Congressman, welcome back to the show. President Biden's comments from Saturday about not letting Putin remain in power have caused quite the stir, as they should. The White House obviously walked them back, but then President Biden today said he's not walking back anything. How is this non-apology going to sit with our foreign leaders?
Obviously not too well. And, you know, let's be honest. When he was speaking in Eastern Europe, he is about as inspiring as a stale croissant, number one. And then he says one thing, and then he walks it back, and now he's doubling down on it. It's very confusing. We're not presenting clarity. You know what I want my president to do? Project strength. Project American strength and say we will defend NATO at all costs. We will also arm the Ukrainians to the teeth. Send a clear message to Putin that this is going to be a long, protracted struggle. It's going to be a war of attrition that he cannot win or doesn't probably want to even try to win, and that will bring him to the negotiating table. Saying that he's got to be removed from power is not going to bring him to that to negotiate with Zelensky.
So you're talking about arming them to the teeth. What else do we need to arm them with that we aren't already?
Well, Sean, I would have the president close his mouth and very quietly ship them artillery pieces and ask the Ukrainians what they want and give them what they ask for within reason. Certainly the Polish MiGs, that would have been an easy one. That just were facilitating a transfer of those 28 jets to the Ukrainians. We should have done that. If they asked for harpoons, the anti-ship missiles, I'd give them those. Give them more lethal aid, more asymmetrical aid, plastic explosives, sniper rifles, anti-tank mines. The American version of the RPG, give them more Stingers, give them the S-300 so they can shoot down some damn jets. Make it so costly for Putin that he knows, take some kind of a deal, claim victory, and get the hell out of Ukraine.
Congressman, while you're overseas, you got a chance to meet service members of the 82nd Airborne Division. Is their mission overseas clear?
You know, I think I would hope so. And they are the best that we have in this country. And they, right now, are guarding NATO's eastern flank. And in order to do that, you know, one of the things that really gave me some hope and really inspired me was our allies on the eastern flank of NATO, like Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, Poland, Romania, and Croatia, are actually fulfilling their obligation of the NATO treaty and spending 2%, at least 2% of their GDP on defense. 20 other countries are not. And they were always acutely aware of the dangers of an awakened Russian bear, and they're very thankful that they're in NATO. And trust me, Moldova and Ukraine wish they were.
I want to switch topics today. The president finally released his budget today, well past when he was supposed to. One of the things that he's got in there is this big tax increase for what he says is going to be a tax on millionaires, right? It's 20% tax on households worth $100 million. He says it's for tax for federal deficit. Let me play you what he said about that.
The budget I'm releasing today will continue this approach. It makes prudent investments in economic growth, a more equitable economy, while making sure corporations and the very wealthy pay their fair share. And I would add, nobody making less than $400,000 a year will pay a penny more in federal taxes.
All right, Congressman, obviously this has probably been poll tested. They think somehow 400,000 is a number that most Americans are going to say, okay, that's not me. What do you think the people in Texas are going to say to that?
Well, the smart ones are going to say same chapter, you know, or different chapter, same verse, really, Sean. I mean, this is class warfare at its finest. If somebody makes a little bit more than you, then they're the enemy and they're the bad guy, and we should take from them their ill-begotten gains. And it never works because, Sean, I've never worked for a poor guy. Have you? I mean, this is ridiculous. Just because somebody succeeds doesn't mean we need to punish them. We should encourage them. And instead of what the left always does is envy, we should admire and move forward, because right now, when we're talking about possibly stagflation, where we have massive 40-year record inflation, and we're going to have a stagnant economy, and we might have a recession. This is the worst time in the world to raise taxes on anybody.
Wow. Congressman Pat Fallon, great to see you. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, y'all. God bless.
Well, a new poll exclusive to Spicer & Company shows just how tired Americans are of high